So first off, where are these toxins coming from in the water? So first thing is we use certain chemicals to actually clean the water, such as chlorine, for instance. And this will obviously decrease things like microbes and bacteria, E. coli, maybe even parasites, right? But you still have to deal with the fact that we have organisms in our gut, are called our microbiome, healthy, good bacteria in our gut. And we know things like chlorine can negatively impact our gut and our immune system and the healthy gut bacteria. And we know that we have 80% of our immune system in the stomach, in the small intestine, the gall and the malt. So if we impact that bacteria, it's going to have a big effect on our immune system. So in general, chlorine is one of those things that may have a benefit cleaning the water a bit, but we want to be able to get it out. And then we also have things like fluoride, which may have a reasonable intention off the bat of topically helping our teeth be stronger. But just because it has a topical benefit doesn't mean we necessarily want to put it in our water where it has an internal benefit. It's like saying, well, sunscreen may help you from getting a sunburn, therefore we'll put it in the water. It's like, well, topical data, but it's not really used internally, right? So it's kind of the same thing. And also fluoride is considered to be like a drug. So if you put it in someone's water, you can't really regulate the dose that someone would get that. Some people may drink twice as much water as the next person. So you're not really regulating the dose on that. So fluoride and chlorine are going to be a big one out of the gates, number one. And then you may even have things like pesticide runoff from farmland, GMO runoff from farmland, right? You may have parasite runoff from whatever happening in the lakes and the streams. And you want to be able to have means to be able to get those things filtered out.
Yep. Good points. Good points. And what we have is truly a first world problem, meaning people in second and third world countries, they may have other issues with their water. So this is not just a problem in America and developed countries. There are water quality problems worldwide. We just happen to have a different problem. So we've done a good job at really helping with like the Giardia and the E. coli's and the crypto and that kind of stuff, getting that out of the water. But in regards to the chemicals, we are doing pretty poor. Now, this is a couple interesting, just topography type pieces of information. I'm looking up, there are certain cities, it's very, very few, but there are certain cities in the US that have very pure water and they don't require water treatment. And this is going to be very interesting to you. Boston is actually one of those cities. So Boston, New York City, San Francisco, Denver, and Portland, Oregon. These are the largest cities in the US that do not treat their surface water beyond disinfection because their water sources are in protected watersheds and thus are naturally pure. And it goes into Boston and how they get their water from this reservoir and the Ware River and blah, blah, blah. So, and then
when I went to school at UMass, I would drive by the reservoir. It was called the Quabbin Reservoir. It was like huge, but it was a man-made reservoir. I think in the post-World War II that it occurred. But yeah, I totally agree. The thing is, I still would never trust it just because I don't trust there's not some level of pesticide residue running off and getting in there at some way or another. So worst case, even if your water's clean, it can't hurt running it through a really good high quality, activated carbon type of filter that's going to at least keep a lot of that crud out for sure, just to be safe.